Hello. Today I want to talk to you about three topics. Firstly, about the traditional extreme sports, and secondly, then we move on to traditional cultures. Okay. Got it. Oh. Yeah. Extreme sport. The question is, extreme sports such as car driving and skiing are very dangerous and should be banned. Well, to what extent do you agree or disagree with this view? My answer is, in recent years, extreme sports have become more popular. Some people think that the government should ban them because of their dangerous nature. I disagree with the idea that these sports are too dangerous. I do not believe that. I don't believe that they should be banned. In my opinion, so-called extreme sports are not as dangerous as people think. All sports involve some level of risk, and there should be clear regulation and safety uh, procedures to reduce the possibility of accidents. In fact, people who take part in extreme sport are required to pass proper training or tests. Therefore, dangers are minimized. For example, who want to try skydiving should sign up with a registered club before driving solo. Beginners should always be accompanied accompanied by a professional. Finally, the safety equipment and technology used in the sports such as motor racing, mountain climbing, increase the level of safety. While support the safety regulations and procedures, I do I don't believe that it would be wrong to. I believe that I believe that it would be wrong to ban extreme sports. Firstly, I argue that we should be free to decide how we spend our leisure time as long as we understand the possible dangers. Another stronger point against the ban would be the difficulty in enforcing it. In fact, many extreme sports such as base jumping or big wave surfing are practiced far away from the reach of authorities. I cannot imagine the police can be called to people jumping off the peak of a mountain or surfing on the isolated beach, 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 beach. In conclusion, I do not believe that there are any valid reason to ban extreme sports. By applying the safety regulation and procedure, we can control the risks. Okay. Recently, extreme sport has become more popular, and some people think that the government should ban them because of their dangerous nature. I disagree with the idea that these sports are so dangerous. I do not believe that. I disagree. I disagree with the idea that these sports are too dangerous, and I do not believe that they should be banned. In my opinion, so-called extreme sports are not as dangerous as people think. All sports involve some level of risks, and there should be clear regulation and safety procedures to reduce the possibility of accidents. In fact, people who take part in extreme sport are required to pass appropriate training and tasks. Therefore, the dangers are minimized. For example, those who want to try skydiving should sign up with a registered club before diving solo. Beginners should always be accompanied by a professional. Finally, the safety equipment and technology used in sports such as motor racing or mountain climbing increase the level of safety. While I support the safety regulation and procedures, I believe that it would be wrong to ban extreme sports. Firstly, I agree with that. It should be free. We should be free to decide how spend our leisure time as long as we understand the possible dangers. Another strongest point against the ban would be the difficulty in enforcing it. In fact, many extreme sports such as base jumping and big wave surfing are practiced far away from the reach of authorities. I cannot imagine the police can be called. I cannot imagine the police can be called to stop people jumping off the peak of a mountain or surfing on an isolated beach. In conclusion, I don't believe there are any valid reasons to ban extreme sports. So by applying the safety regulation and procedures, we can control the risks. Most people have forgotten the meaning. The second topic is most people have forgotten the meaning behind traditional religious festivals. During the festival period, people nowadays only want to enjoy themselves. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Some people argue that we no longer remember the original meaning of festivals, and that most of us treat them as opportunities to have fun. While I agree that enjoyment seems to be the priority during times festival time. While I agree that enjoyment seems to be the priority during festival times, I disagree that people have forgotten what these festivals mean. On the one hand, religious and traditional festivals have certainly become times or become time certainly become times for celebration. In Vietnam, Tet Lunar New Year is a good example for festival period where people more concerned when people are more concerned with shopping, giving and receiving presents, decorating their homes, visiting their relatives, and enjoy traditional meals with their families. In other words, enjoyment is people priority prior people prim, primary. Enjoyment is people's primary goal. Participant in religious festivals, such as Christmas, has behaved in a similar fashion to those in non-religious festivals. More people Multiple occasions, more people in Vietnam associate with will say this occasion with going out to eat at a restaurant or then going to large events in local parks rather than going to the churches to practice religion. However, I disagree. I disagree with the idea that the underlying meaning of such festivals had been forgotten. In Vietnamese kindergartens, wait a minute, I want to check the pronunciation. Kindergarten, okay. Kindergarten. In Vietnamese kindergarten, people tell their children about stories related to traditional festivals such as Tet or Mid-Autumn Festival. It helps them understand the meaning of this festival at an early age. Families play also an important role in passing knowledge of traditional festivals deeper significance. Traditional festival deeper significance significant significance significance to the next generation to the next significance onto the next generation. For example, young people are usually taught about the importance of ancestor worship during Tet. In higher education, students also learn in detail about the reason of celebrating Christmas and a variety of festivals in other religions, and that is a part of their curriculum. In conclusion, although people mainly want to enjoy themselves during festivals, I believe that they still aware of the reasons of these celebrations. One more time. Some people argue that we no longer remember the original meaning of festivals, and that most people treat them as enjoyment seems to be the priority during festival times. I disagree that people have forgotten what these festivals mean. On the one hand, religious and traditional festivals have suddenly become times for celebrations. In Vietnam, Tet Lunar New Year is a good example of the festival period when people are most concerned with shopping, giving, and receiving presents, decorating their homes, visiting their relatives, and enjoy traditional meals with their families. In other words, enjoyment is people prime people's where everything goes. Participation in religious participation participate particip- participant participants are in religious participant in religious festivals such as Christmas behave in a similar fashion to those in non-religious festivals. Most people in Vietnam associate this occasion with going out to eat at a restaurant and then going to large events in local parks rather than going to the churches to practice religion. However, I disagree with the idea that the underlying meaning of such festivals has been forgotten. In Vietnam, kindergarten, in Vietnamese kindergartens, teachers tell their children about stories related to traditional festivals such as Tet or Mid-Autumn Festival. This helps them to understand the meaning of this festival at an early age. Families also play an important role in passing knowledge of traditional festivals' deeper significance onto the next generation. For example, young people are usually taught about the importance of ancestor worship during Tet. In higher education, students are also learn in detail about the reasons of celebrating Christmas and a variety of festivals in other religions as a part of their curriculum. Inclusion, although people mainly want to enjoy themselves during festivals, I believe that they still aware the reason of those of this celebration. Inevitable, 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 inevitable. It is inevitable that traditional cultures will be lost as technology develops. Technologies and traditional culture is are culture is incompatible, incom, incompatible, incompatible, inevitable. It is inevitable that traditional cultures will be lost and technology develop, development, development, develop, 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 development, dev, develop, 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 develop technology and traditional cultures and incompatible. What if that technology developments lead the loss of traditional cultures? I agree partly with this assertion. Assertions. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this view? Some people believe that technological developments lead to the loss of traditional cultures. I agree partially with this assertion. Why it may be true in case of why it might be true in the case of some societies. Others seem to be unaffected, affected by technology. It may be true in some cases, unaffected. Unaffected, 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 unaffected by technology. Unaffected, 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 unaffected. Why it may be true in the case of some societies, others seem to be unaffected by technology. On the one hand, the advances of technology, the advances of technology that have driven industrialization, 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 industrial drive have driven industrialization, industrialization have driven industrialization in developing countries that contribute in this disappearance of some traditional cultures. To take Vietnam as an example, in the past generation, family grew up in the same small village communities. The community has a strong sense of identity due to their shared custom and beliefs. However, developments in transport and communications and manufacturing need the dispersal. 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 Need the dispersal of families in village communities as people moved to the city in the search of work. Community had become many villages has become a part of the cities where people may not know their closest neighbors. On the other hand, in some parts of the world, traditional cultures still thrive. Some tribes in Amazon rainforest, for example, had remained untouched by technological forest, for example, has remained untouched by technological development. These tribal communities continue hunt, gather food from the forest. In addition, parents and elders pass on traditional skills to their children. Other traditional cultures such as traditional craft communities in Vietnam are embracing technology developments, and the internet gives craftsmen command access to the markets abroad. We help them to grow their businesses and therefore support traditional cultures. In conclusion, many traditional ways of life have been lost as a result of advances in technology. But other traditional cultures, communities have survived and even prospered, prospered, prospered. Some people believe that technology development lead to the loss of traditional culture. I agree partly with the assertion, partly. While it may be true in some cases, while it be true in some cases, while while it may be true in some case of some in the case of some societies, the others seem to be others cases of some societies. Others seem to be unaffected by technology. On the on the other hand, the advantages on the one hand, on the one hand, advances, advances, the advances of technology that have been driven into that industrialization in developing country had contributed the disappearance of some traditional cultures. To take Vietnam as principle, generations of family grew up in the same small village communities. Generations of families grew up. The community had a strong sense of identity to they shared custom and beliefs. However, developments in transport, communications, and manufacturing need the net the dispersal of families and village communities as people moved to the cities in the search of work. Many villages had become a part of city where people may not know their closest neighbors.